tonight we're on College Gameweek. Jeremy Green and Josh Taylor and Ryan Gully to break down the big matchups, give you some more brilliant picks against the spread, and recap week 4 right quick. And Jeremy, big time Saturday in the SEC. Separation Saturday for a lot of teams. LSU tops Auburn 26-21 in a thriller at Jordan-Hare. Florida tops Tennessee, and Georgia over Arizona State. What is the picture in the SEC now after week 4?
Well, I think when you look at it, Florida definitely has to be your clear favorite in the East right now. And on the west side, Alabama and LSU both look very impressive on Saturday. So you got to look at those three teams as maybe your favorites right now.
Yeah, we have breaking news as it relates to the SEC. Jeremy, you're not going to believe this. After a win over Ole Miss, the Vanderbilt Commodores are now ranked 21st in the AP poll for the first time. I believe that says since 1856. What are your thoughts about the Commodores?
Well, when you look at Vanderbilt, it has been 24 years since they've been ranked in the top 25. And Bobby Johnson is doing it a little bit different than everybody else. He's bringing his guys in. They're not blue chippers. They're not big stand-out freshmen like you have at some of these other schools. Bobby Johnson brings them in, builds them up for 2 years physically and mentally. They're smart kids, so they learn the offense. And as juniors, they come in and fill the roles that they have to fill.
Quickly, what is the best team in the state of Tennessee right now?
Vanderbilt.
It shouldn't be that hard. That's embarrassing as it relates to the Volunteers. Meanwhile, across the country in the Pac-10, we saw Arizona State lose to UNLV last week. This week, the upset bug strikes again as the Broncos of Boise State march into Austin and take care of Oregon. We maybe expected that with quarterback controversy or quarterback problems up at Oregon as it relates to Justin Roper. You had USC. Who's the second best team in the Pac-10?
I don't know, Josh. I really don't. We had big expectations for a few teams. After Cal knocks off Michigan State in week 1, they looked great, but they travel across the country and get thumped by Maryland. Oregon, quarterback problems like you mentioned with Justin Roper. Arizona State, 2 losses in a row. We all knew that USC was the classic conference, but there's really not anybody close right now in the Pac-10.
You know, we talk about maybe what happens if multiple teams go undefeated. I think we're starting to see a scenario possibly set up where if you have an SEC team, Oklahoma, and USC go undefeated, there could be pollsters. In fact, we've already heard them talking, saying maybe USC's schedule is going to be so weak outside of Ohio State that maybe they get bypassed by a no-loss SEC team at Oklahoma.
Well, let's don't look too far ahead because going undefeated in this age of college football is really hard to do. And USC definitely has the best shot at it. You talk about the Big 12, Texas Tech and Texas also in the top 10 right now. And in the SEC, just great teams all over that conference. So let's not get ahead of ourselves, but very interesting scenario.
Another picture, conference-wise, it was muddied up Saturday with a big win for Virginia Tech over UNC, and that's the ACC. Who in the world is the favorite in the ACC now?
If you had to tell me that there was going to be an ACC team that scored 41 points in the season, I really wouldn't know who it was. But Miami goes to Texas A&M, scores 41, albeit on a beleaguered Texas A&M squad, but they go through and score 41. They look really good. Wake Forest takes care of business over Florida State. I think those 2 teams are your favorites right now in that conference.
I really like North Carolina, but I don't think I can endorse them right now as a legit ACC title contender with TJ Yates out. And from all indications, he's going to be out multiple weeks with that injury. So now, you know, they go to North Carolina. North Carolina goes to Miami this week. If Miami wins that game, believe it or not, you may be talking about the Hurricanes in the driver's seat. Virginia Tech looks nice, but I mean, they still have problems at quarterback too. They may have taken a step in solving those issues at North Carolina as they won 20-17, but we'll see how that shakes out. Meanwhile, let's shift our attention to week 5. We mentioned the quarterback shakeup at Virginia Tech. Also at Ohio State, Terrell Pryor, now your starting quarterback. What do you make of quarterback shakeups at big-time programs like Virginia Tech and Ohio State after only 3 weeks or 4 weeks in the season?
Well, you heard the rumors at the beginning of the year for both of these teams. Terrell Pryor coming in as the #1 recruit in the nation. Todd Beckman, an efficient quarterback, but certainly not a standout, not a great athlete. So you had that going on there. And really, Ohio State has just not looked very impressive so far. But when you look at the situation in Virginia Tech, Beamer comes out and says, well, we're going to redshirt Tyrod Taylor. Never a prayer of that happening with Sean Glennon. Sean Glennon getting booed off the field at Lane Stadium. So those are necessary moves, I believe, and maybe if these happen at a couple of other schools, we won't really mention them right now, Auburn. But you might be looking at different situations all over the country.
Well, those two offenses may be starting to rectify their problem with quarterback shakeups. However, we're going to spotlight a game in Tennessee at Auburn this week where the offense has been anything but impressive. You've seen some offenses struggle, not just in the SEC, Big Ten, ACC, but all across the country. Is it time to hit the panic button on any of the offenses you see across the country so far?
Well, I think when you look at last week, you had some good, you had some bad, and you had some very, very ugly. Florida and Alabama looking great on offense. UCLA and Tennessee looking terrible. And Florida State just absolutely disgusting on offense. Christian Ponder comes out during the week and says, we shouldn't have a problem beating Wake Forest. Well, Christian, when you score 3 points, you have a problem beating anybody. So right now, I look at Florida State, I look at Virginia Tech, struggling on offense as well. And Auburn just struggling with that new offense that they have down there. Maybe some things to worry about on the offensive side of the football.
You mentioned the bad, you mentioned the ugly. Now let's talk about the good. Ryan Dole goes 4-1 in week 3. Last week he bested himself by going 6-1 against the spread, ladies and gentlemen. You're not going to find percentages like that anywhere in Vegas. With that in mind, let's send it to Ryan Dole in the Moneymaker studio and see if he can go 100% this week. Take it away, Dole.
200? Oh, hello there, friends. It's time to make some more money. This week I like Tennessee plus 7.5 at Auburn. Then I like Arkansas at Texas minus 27.5. Hold on 1 second, guys. Yes? Alabama plus 7.5? Definitely take that all day, friend. No problem, man. Goodbye. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Alabama plus 7.5, guys. Then I like Wisconsin minus 6.5 at Michigan. Then I like Louisville minus 3.5 against UConn. Yes. Vatech, listen, take Vatech straight up all day. Trust me, friend. I'm telling you, straight up. All right, goodbye. Vatech straight up, guys. Trust me. Back to you guys.